My female 27, brother 24, and I were raised in a traditional Southern Baptist household. I married 2 weeks ago, and it went off without a hitch. I think it was a beautiful ceremony, and the reception was a lot of fun for everyone. The only thing that could have messed it up was my brother. He wanted to ask his girlfriend, Sarah, 27, to marry him at the reception during his speech, welcoming my husband to the family. My dad passed away last year, and I thought having my brother do the honors would be good. Thank God he told me his idea beforehand. My brother didn't know that Sarah, who's one of my best friends, had already told me that she was pregnant. My brother is a youth pastor at our church. Sarah's the choir director. Everyone looks up to them. I told him that if he dared try and include himself on my day, the response to his speech would be me toasting his new baby. He was furious I knew about it, and that I would leverage it against him. I saw red. I said that if he and his girlfriend were willing to go against our beliefs, then I had no problem calling him out. Our fight got loud enough that our mom came in to break it up. I kept my mouth shut, despite wanting to blab right then and there. As I said, my wedding went perfectly, and my brother proposed to his girlfriend privately at a beautiful little spot on the hotel grounds after we left the reception. Sarah thanked me for my discretion and for convincing my idiot brother not to try and horn in on my day when I got back from our honeymoon. We all had dinner with my mom last night, and my brother's still salty about the situation, though. When I spoke with him to congratulate him on his engagement, he said I was petty to keep him and Sarah from having a moment in the sun. I said that there was 1,000 more appropriate places for him to propose, and he chose well. Not the idiot. Boy, I hate people that try to propose at other people's weddings. The only time that's okay is if it was planned in advance and both the bride and groom are fully on board and enthusiastic about sharing their day. Otherwise, do your thing on your own time and don't take away someone else's spotlight. There are 364 other days. You don't need to propose at someone else's wedding. I'm glad Sarah agreed with you and thanked you for holding your ground. I'm a wedding photographer, and I've seen firsthand how it doesn't go well, even when it's planned with the bride. The moment it happens, everyone in attendance freezes up and gets tense. Then the whispers start, and even after the bride announces that she knows, the overall mood of the reception gets tilted towards the negative as a result. Not to mention what happens if the one being proposed to says no. OP, he doesn't want a moment in the sun. He wants your moment in the sun. And that's probably because he's not going to get as extravagant a wedding as yours, because they have to get married quickly. Oh, and they definitely have an abnormally large premature baby, I'm guessing. Poor future sister-in-law, who feels she has to marry 24-year-old brother youth pastor who knocked her up, but may already have second thoughts about that due to this whole wedding proposal debacle. You handled that beautifully. Tell him you'll announce your pregnancy at his wedding. See if that takes some of the salt out of him. He needs to learn that someone else's, your, wedding day is not his playground. He should feel lucky you didn't share his happy baby news, even before he could propose to Sarah. OP, great job knocking him down a peg. Since he's still salty, you may have more opportunities to educate him on how to behave. Good luck. My friend was visiting me this week, and since it's summer, we decided we wanted to go to the pool. She has been on antidepressants for the past 2 years, which has made her gain a ton of weight. She used to be very slim and skinny like me, but the meds have completely changed her body composition. She brought a few basic bathing suits and was asking for my opinion on them. She had a one-piece and a bikini she was deciding between. She kept saying she looked too fat in the bikini and might wear the one-piece. I actually thought the one-piece looked better, but I didn't say anything because it was up to her. She modeled both for me and asked for my opinion. All I said was, I like the one piece better. She asked me if I thought she looked fat in the bikini, and I said no, I just liked the other one better. She started to act super triggered and kept accusing me of thinking she's fat, and I told her to wear whatever she wants. She put on the one piece and kept making snarky comments about how I think she's fat, and I would ignore her, but she kept taunting me with the comments, so I just snapped and said, yeah, you shouldn't wear a bikini because it doesn't look good on you. Happy now? Is that what you wanted me to say so badly? She just started packing her bags and went somewhere. I haven't heard from her since. I heard from our mutual friend, Allie, that she's safe. She just went to a hotel and rebooked her flight. But Allie told me that apparently my friend told her that I called her fat, and Allie says I could have handled the situation better, even when I told her the real story. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She knew the bikini looked terrible on her. She just wanted you to convince her it didn't, and when you refused, she pitched the fit. Her body issues are hers to deal with. In the end, my guess is that she's having a really hard time with the changes, which probably isn't helping with her depression. She's likely oversensitive to the weight issue and is looking for her best friend to just tell her she looks great in a bikini. And it's not your fault you didn't get that. It's just really unfortunate. Also, it was a loaded question. Whatever OP said was going to be the wrong answer. If she said the bikini was better and she didn't look fat, Allie would say she's lying and trying to make her look bad. The bottom line is that she was looking for a fight, and it had to do with her own insecurities, especially looking at her former slim self in OP. This was a lose-lose situation, but everyone's the idiot. Your friend sucks for projecting her feelings about her weight gain onto you, but you shouldn't have snapped. You can try turning the question around. Dang, lady, I think you look fabulous in both of them. Which one makes you feel amazing? Or even, I would wear the one you're most comfortable with. Nothing worse than pulling out a bathing suit all day. Now chop chop, the pool is waiting. She used to be very slim and skinny like me, was telling for me. OP sounds like a fat shamer. It's messed up that half the comments here are, she obviously didn't look good in the bikini. You were just being honest. How do we know that? OP said herself she thought the two-piece was cute on her. Why couldn't she have just said that instead of provoking her friend's insecurities? I failed to see how a bikini's automatically not an option because she's bigger than she used to be. Why do we constantly expect people to cover up their bodies after a certain size? A bathing suit is a bathing suit, and her comfort should have been the main concern over anything else. I, 31 female, was recently invited to my boyfriend's cousin's wedding as his +1. It was a really nice wedding ceremony, and then later on we were sitting at the reception as the wedding party entered. The entrances were like they all were, a little ridiculous and cringe, but it is what it is, just your typical wedding entrances. Then the best man and the maid of honor were introduced, and in their entrance, the maid of honor told the best man. I thought it was a little weird, but I just chalked it up to being silly and having fun. Then came the toast from the best man. In the toast, the best man didn't use a script on his phone and just spoke to everyone, a crowd of 400, which was surprising to me because typically, men at the other weddings that I've been to need some material to go off of and keep their speech going. In the speech, he didn't really touch on the more masculine things you would typically see in the best man speeches, but rather on things I thought were more feminine. When he finished the speech, he went directly in for a hug with the groom rather than a typical handshake or whatever else guys do. All of this, and plus how much it seemed he cared about his appearance, led me to say to the girl next to me, "That was a good speech and all, but do you think he's bi?" She responded, "Well, that's his fiancé right there," as she pointed across the table to a girl. I then turned to her asking the same thing, if he was bi. She looked confused and said, "No," to which I responded, "Are you sure?" The girl next to her best man's fiancé immediately responded, "Well, I'm his best man's sister, and I think I would know if he was." And it turns out I was at a table with many of the groomsmen's +1s and some of their family members. I took the hint to change the subject, but it seemed like a touchy subject for some reason. The night went on, and apparently, word had gotten back to the groom's family. My boyfriend is the groom's uncle, and the groom's family was upset with the comments that I made. As it turns out, the best man is really close to their family and felt embarrassed that someone would say this to him. And some thought I should apologize to the best man and his fiancé for continuing to press questions. But I felt it was a valid question that I was curious about, and even tried to defend it more by saying he seemed to care too much about his appearance. and that he danced with a bunch of people and not just his fiancée throughout the night. Not grinding or anything, but just didn't have his full attention on only dancing with his fiancée. This has caused a small strain in my relationship with my boyfriend because his family is upset with me, but I don't think it's valid. I just want to know, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. What the heck is wrong with you? You didn't even know this guy, and somehow you thought it was a great idea to interrogate his fiancée and sister about his orientation? You really don't see where you messed up? And then to double down with a follow-up question, are you sure? Wow, you've got a lot of nerve. I really hope that family never invites you to anything ever again. Or better yet, I hope your boyfriend dumps you. You embarrassed him too. Yuck. It must be a joy for people to deal with you. And what messed up world do you live where men can't hug or give a speech? What business is it of yours? Why or how does this concern you? Are you really that stuck on stereotypical gender roles that you're threatened by a man hugging his best friend? Honestly, I'd break up with someone over this lack of respect and horrible behavior. You thought he liked men because he checks notes, did a silly dance, could speak well, and focused on more emotional things in his speech. What the heck? This is toxic masculinity in a super weird way. The next time, if ever, you go to a wedding where you probably don't know many people, keep your mouth shut and your inane judgments to yourself. I have 2 kids, a tween male and a younger tween female. My sister-in-law has a service dog who's been with her for about 6 months now. He's an 18-month poodle. It was my son's birthday party last weekend, which she was at, and obviously I had a whole ton of young boys running riot around my house. My daughter also had 2 friends over, younger siblings of the boys, as well as our pets. All in all, 9 children, 3 dogs, and a cat caused chaos. At one point, one of our rabbits escaped and was running around too. My sister-in-law's dog couldn't cope. He was so excited and wasn't paying any attention to her. My daughter and her friend said hi to him, but otherwise left him alone. He was losing his crap the whole time, and my sister-in-law had to leave. My son was a little upset, but didn't mind overall. He just asked if she could come over for a mini birthday. Yesterday was that mini birthday. It was much quieter, just the family, and the dog was still losing it. He was jumping around, and she wasn't able to control him. She had a flare-up, which he ignored. She got quite frustrated and asked my children to leave the room. They did, and he finally calmed down. They came back in and got excited again. The kids weren't comfortable, so they went to play and we talked. I basically said if she can't control him, I don't want him in my house. She replied that he's a service dog and goes everywhere with her, so I'd essentially be banning her. I said that he was a crap service dog as he'd ignored her flare-up and wouldn't listen. She then blamed my kids, saying my daughter had gotten him excited last time, and now he thinks that kids mean playtime. I told her that if her service dog can't ignore children while working, he's not a service dog. She got upset and left, saying she was uncomfortable with me. Later, my husband pulled me aside and asked me to apologize because I'd hurt her feelings. I said I didn't think an apology would be worth it because I'm not sorry. I meant what I said. He told me he understood, but that it was a witchy move to not even try to apologize. She then texted me and said that he had a situation with a child when he was in training, but she was paying out money to get him retrained. I don't know the situation, but I feel bad. I think she was trying to use my kids to socialize with him, and it hasn't worked, and I feel much worse. I haven't yet responded because I somewhat still stand by what I said, but I also feel awful about making her feel so insecure. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You're absolutely right. It's not a service dog. They are extensively trained and extremely expensive. It sounds like she got a dog and someone trained it and is calling it a service dog. 18 months old is very young to be a service dog too, barely out of puppyhood. My husband has 2 Labrador guide dogs, and they weren't ready till they were at least 2 years old. That's not a legit service dog. It takes a while to apply for and be approved for a certified service dog. Then it needs to be sourced, have its temperament gauged, and given an opportunity to be matched with its new owner. Not to mention the cost for the dog and its intense training on getting approved for a service dog provided by a nonprofit. Sounds like she just got a dog from her breeder. There's a reason those service dogs cost a literal arm and a leg. That's true, and I have trained service dogs. If her dog is so freaked out around kids that he ignores her flare-ups, he needs a lot more training and, frankly, to stay away from kids for a while. This dog is a lousy service dog right now. He's not doing his job at all. Was this animal sourced from an accredited kennel with the certification in training service animals? Or was this a puppy she just took to obedience school and figured good enough? If the former, I'd want a refund. If the latter, well, that's on her. Either way, she's aware the dog has issues with stimulation. How the absolute heck did she think a child's birthday party was a good place to take it? You just called it like you saw it. I, male teen, am on a vacation with my mom, stepfather, and his family. This is the second summer we've done this. Last year, I enjoyed the vacation, but the flight sucked. I have a Switch with lots of games on it. My mom made me share with my stepfather's brother's kids because they didn't bring anything for entertainment. They could have watched a movie or something on the screen on the seat, but instead, I was bored because they didn't plan ahead. So this year, I planned ahead. My dad gives me money so I can buy souvenirs and do my own thing. I asked him if he could upgrade my seat for me. He looked it up and saw that it was on sort of an auction system. If there are better seats to be had, then you win your bid, and you get the seat. He checked with my mom and asked her if she was okay with it. She said she was. He put in $55 for an upgrade to Coach Plus or something. More leg room and closer to the front of the plane. I got it. It was great. I sat by the window up front instead of a middle row in the back, and I had my own plug-in for charging my Switch. When we landed, my stepfather said I was rude to not to want to sit with the family. I said that I had permission from my mom and dad to sit there. Now he's arguing with my mom because he said that it should have been discussed with him since he paid for the original ticket. I think I made things worse when I said that no one discussed it with me when I was told to share my Switch, even though I bought it with my own money. He's saying that I'm not allowed to upgrade my seat on the way home. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Oh Lord, I feel for you, kid. The unnecessary drama. Vacations are supposed to be fun, right? Your mom and stepdad are married. They bought you a ticket. It doesn't really matter who technically paid for it, in my opinion, and yes, I am a stepmother, so I feel I can chime in. You got money from your dad, put your brilliant mind to good use, figured out a way to get some peace, and got permission from both parents to do so. I think you were very clever in getting the upgrade. Your stepfather's angry because he can't make demands of you, and he has to deal with his kids. Your mother agreed, and she's now also in trouble with him. Because I'm petty, I would consider having your father upgrade your seat on the return. Do your half-sibs even have their own Switch? You shouldn't have to share the property that you aped for with your half-sibs.